You've got a problem, you've got to put his glasses on.
Bryan was like a hub to a wheel. And the spokes reached out and there was a network of friends. And those friends, we all got together through Bryan. And there's like a big hole in our wheel, right? A Bryan-shaped hole. I met Bryan 37 years ago. He's been a lifelong friend ever since. And during the 80s, we lived together, we worked together, and we played together. He took in all the waifs and strays, and I fell on hard times, and he took me in like a long line of people that I know that he helped along the way. Bryan was outwardly very open and inwardly very private. He didn't talk about politics or religion. He just talked about now, the moment. And he just cared about his friends and his family. So I'm going to tell you a few funny stories now that happened to me and Bryan. Well, yeah, you may do. I've titled it Skinheads and Booze, right? First one was when we were in the Gardens nightclub, and he had a couple of pints in his hand, and he went up to Minnie, who worked in the insurance department at the time, well-endowed lady, and he walked up to her and he said, "Minnie, could you hold these pints for me?" And she said, "Yeah, Bryan." And he held them like that and he went, "Woo!" And she said, "Bryan, you're the only person who could ever get away with doing that." Another time we had to go and pick a Fiat 126 up, the smallest Fiat bubble car you can get, and we set off the street to pick this thing up, and we borrowed the fastest car that we could find on site from Joe Harris, a Fiat 126 Mirror Fury. And we arrived there and we attached it to this big long bungee rope, and off we set, and he must have drove like 80 miles an hour all the way back down the hill, and I was just going like this, frightened the hell out of me. I was stood on the brake, trying to slow him down. And when we got back, I got him out of the car and I said, "What are you doing to me?" And he said, "Well, you were laughing." I said, "I always laugh when I'm frightened." Another time we set off from Abbey Hill, like we did in those days, and during the time we'd go and have a few pints, didn't you? So we went down. It was the day they knocked the Albion down. You know, remember the Albion, and so we couldn't go there, and we drove past, and there was Dean stood outside of Midas Exhaust, and it was hot day, so we had our arms out the window, posing like we did. And I shouted at Dean, "Oi, Dean, you tosser." Dean's like this, he's just taking the last gasp on his cigarette, and he flipped that cigarette and it went straight up my nose. And Bryan is driving and he's crying his eyes out. The funny story, Bryan, I know he wouldn't mind me telling you, was the time he went over to see Dean and Fabienne from France with John Birch, another long lost friend, and he was sat on the edge of the pool with John, and some French girls came swimming up, and they were swimming all around him, and they went off, and he said to John, "I think I might have called you." He seemed really interested, and John looked across and he said, no, he said, it's because your pot's something on the side.
Bit much cool.
I had a day away with him in Studlands with Terry, his brother Terry. On Bryan first started making his homemade wine and everything else quite a long time ago, and it was barley wine and stuff. No, that was some strong stuff. And well, I fell asleep. No, and when I woke up, what I realised is that Terry and Bryan built this great big cock of sand between my legs. And all the people would be walking, looking at me, laughing. And then we went on to the moonshine because he got better at making this homemade.
So you took time to do it. Why did you bring some rotten stuff?
Well, he got good at it in the end, didn't he? Very good. And we'd drink that stuff, and I'd wake up on his pool table. And we'd do that, and there was a settee next to me. And he wouldn't wake me up, he'd just throw a duvet over me. So, my time with Bryan at Enfield Hill and Abbey Hill, we joined the pool team. We were groupies for the ladies' darts team. For obvious reasons. Bland, you are the most generous, caring, fun-loving friend I could ever have, and I love you and miss you for as long as I live. Thank you.